Welcome back. In this segment, we're going to talk about the different sorts of testing devices that you can use to check for carbon monoxide. Now, the first one I'm going to show you is actually the one I use as a home inspector. It's a fairly simple guy, and it can be found at a lot of HVAC outlets, but you see there's no buttons or knobs where things can be calibrated up or down. You just basically hit the green button, it turns on, and it tells you what the number is. This is the one that I use to get the reading that I told you about in the previous sets of stories. So this is one, and this is generally something that a home inspector is going to have. It's a lot more portable, it's a little more expensive, but it's something you got to have. I probably should tell you one more story I did when I got this thing, and this was a number of years ago. I was testing a number of things. I was testing the gas on the stove. I was testing the fireplace and the water heater, and I kept getting zero readings. And that was frustrating me, and I wanted to see a reading somewhere so that I could know that this thing worked. So I thought, all right, how do I cause a carbon monoxide problem? And I admit this is guy think, but I thought, all right, I'm going to turn on my truck. I'm going to leave my truck in the garage, and I'm going to leave the garage doors closed, and that's going to cause a carbon monoxide problem. I went and did that, had the garage doors closed. I made sure the door between the living space and the garage was closed, but I don't know how much. It's still not a safe thing to do. And so I gave it about a minute, and I went back out there, and this thing immediately pegged at 500 parts per million. I knew it worked. I also knew that I'd been an idiot, because that's a huge number, and any number of little things could happen. Maybe there was a hole in the garage where we had CO leaking into the basement. I just knew that it was not a good idea at the time. So yeah, this thing does work, and you can build those numbers up very quickly. So you got this guy here, and then of course you'll have, as I'd mentioned, you'll have the CO/smoke alarms that you put on the ceiling, and those do what they're supposed to do. But the list of what they're supposed to do is basically limited to, let's find the raging fire in the bedroom or the carpet or whatever, and detect that and let people know. What they do not do is detect a long leak, maybe at your stove or fireplace or whatever. That's not what they're there to do well. So you'll have the CO detectors up here, but that doesn't mean that you're protected. You also want to have carbon monoxide detectors down near the floor, and those can be found on Amazon. And you can actually get them where they're digital, and if they do have a reading, it'll tell you what the reading is. If you get any reading at all, even if it's a 1, you've got a problem. It's kind of like, having a little bit of mice or a little bit of termites. Where there's 1, you want to know why they're there, and you want to eliminate the source. And so it becomes priority 1 to find out what that source is and eliminate it. There's no number that can be tolerated.